Hello, well, it's Tim, and this is, if you're of a certain age, you probably remember when the TV broadcast would be interrupted by a special report. It's always very scary. You wonder if like nuclear missiles were on the way or somebody got killed. But this is kind of like that. This is a very rare, well, maybe even unprecedented instance where I felt the need to brush off the old camera and say a few words. I actually want to do two videos tonight. One of them is this one, which is going to be quite obviously unscripted. If you don't believe that, you'll believe it really soon. It's just off the cuff reaction to what's going on. And the other one is more of a market. I don't know if I'd give it such a highfalutin term as analysis, but something close to that. Observations, speculations. It occurs to me my microphone is way too low. I beg your pardon. I'm just not going to do that preface again, so excuse me. Anyway, hopefully you could hear most of that. So I just want to say a few things about what's going on. It is interesting to me. Let me give you a little anecdote. Back when I interned at Apple, this is like in 1987, there was a woman there who, I don't know if she went to business school or went there briefly or something like that, but my impression was that she had read one business case. I'll remember it till the day I die, Crown, Cork, and Seal. Now, I don't know what the business case said or what its conclusions were, what lessons she drew from it, but all I know is that it's like the old saw about like to a hammer, every problem is a nail. Well, in her case, every time we talked about any topic, she'd be like, oh, that's just like Crown, Cork, and Seal. This was like her one lesson from life drawn from this one business school case. And in the same aspect, I don't want to take the book that I just read, Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, and apply it to everything that I see. But it is eerie to me how similar the situation feels with what I read in that book. And if I'm not mistaken, we've been listening to NPR, and I think Putin talked about the denazification of Ukraine. Maybe I misheard that, but it seemed extraordinary that he would use that term. But, you know, in the late 30s, Germany had this shtick where they would basically play the victim. It was kind of a very childish psychological game where they would claim that there were German-speaking, German-cultured people living in X country that were being abused and harassed and tormented and tortured, and by God, the motherland was going to save them from their oppressor. And that was the pretext to invade and to save, them. And they would like immediately seize radio stations and so forth. And the thing is that what's going on right now is very similar, it feels, even though this was like 80 years ago, 90 years ago, I guess, that this was happening almost. Where, history is repeating itself, which I guess is kind of my business anyway, to observe repetitions of history. You could see this coming from 8,000 miles away. It's a little weird that the financial markets are reacting like this is some big surprise. This is like crazy obvious what's happening. And the weird thing, and I've done charting all my life, and it means a lot to me. It's not just a way to make a buck. It's not quite a religion, but it's certainly deeply interesting to me because I'm a student of history and I'm a student of the financial markets, and they intertwine in glorious ways in charts. And when a market is allowed to be itself, when a market is allowed to be a market, people with skilled eyes can divine the future, I believe. And the funky thing about charts is that, in a way, they tell the future before the future gets here. And I have reasons I believe, why that is. Don't need to go into them here. But the fact is that there have been things happening in recent weeks where I keep saying the same phrase. It makes all the sense in the world. Even when the market was rallying, this makes all the sense in the world. And it feels really, really good after these dreadful 13 years for things to make sense again. And the only reason it makes sense is because the markets are actually behaving like markets once more. This has nothing to do with, they're going down, so Tim's happy. No, the charts are working. Even when they go up, they're working. And, today, this very day, Thursday, as I'm recording this, during the trading day, the markets were bright green. And I waited until the appropriate moment, and I started shorting the hell out of everything because it made all the sense in the world. So this isn't just because things are going down that I feel this way. Charts work again. Markets make sense again. It's a enormous glass of cool water in the middle of a vast desert that we've all been lost within. So I do not celebrate any bad news that creates this financial turmoil. The financial turmoil is almost destined to take place irrespective of the exogenous events which ostensibly compel it to happen. So this is not a tee-hee-hee or yay war or anything like that. It is not my nature. My nature is to observe and speculate. And this is what I've been doing. So, having said all of that, I think what I'm going to do now is a video where I just talk about where the charts are. I'm recording this around about, it's coming up on 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And a lot can happen between now and the opening bell, which is in about 9 hours from now as I'm recording this. I mean, the markets be bright green as far as I know by the time I wake up. I kind of doubt it, but in this crazy environment, you just never know. So anyway, I just wanted to share a few words, a few thoughts. And I think they're important, and they come from the heart. And now I will do something a little more chart-based. So for those of you who are paying customers of any level, you will see that next. So I'll see you on the other side.